So, let's paint this thing. And now we are going to make a lot of paint here. And I do it in these buckets because I usually gonna save it up, and if it gets something leftovers, and paint it grey because, well, grey is something usual. So now we're gonna paint this foam. It's actually very important that the paint will not crack, because this is very cheap, like wall paint, who is like cracking up, and it will fall off very quickly. It's not really suitable. It has been made to be in a wall, so it doesn't have to have any. It doesn't need to be like flexible and so. But we were gonna first take like some of this, and this is because this is so much cheaper to have this very cheap paint. And now we're going to mix that up with some acrylic paint, which actually has become a little bit plastic. So we will actually use these, the flexible part of it, so it will maintain flexible. And we are going to mix this up together. Because here in Sweden, acrylic paint is really damn expensive for some reason. And then we're going to take this plastic black lacquer, which is also going to be, because it's plastic based, it will also be a little bit flexible to bend than this other. It will almost become like sand when the white paint. So we're just going to take that and mix that to the right color we will use. And there it is. So we are going to begin this painting journey by just painting everything of this in this exciting grey paint which we have mixed up together here. You can also spray paint this, but I wouldn't really recommend it due to it's so many like parts that cannot flex, that can flex and so on. And I'm gonna have this in a car, in a bag, and so on. So it's well, it's a bit of a flexible color which actually do this good. Otherwise, well, because also I had lots of this paint, so well, I take what I have from my home to build from. So anyway, you're just gonna paint everything of this grey, and they actually are a bit lighter colored, but I noticed that because usually this change a little bit when it dries up, this kind of paint. So well, it gets a bit darker, but it still looks good, so why bother? And now, you see, there, it is finished. So now we have all the part in extremely exciting grey color. And while waiting for the paint to dry, let's blackmail Kjell Eriksson for being a cannibal. I'm sure everybody will buy that. And now the logo, which I'm just gonna draw off the screen here. You can also print this out and cut it out, but I think it's unnecessary due to, well, you can do it like this. And then you're just gonna take that and take some white color and just fill in for this. Like that. See how good it is? Also, you can also, this is actually a part that you could spray paint to save some time, but well, whatever. So the reason we are now painting first grey and then the patches are like the Brotherhood of Sin signs is because if you think about it, you have to paint this in like logical layers. Like first it was painted and the patches was on, and then it actually got dented and brought up from the walls and got battled with mutants and so on and so on. So, from that point now, we are going to make all the scratches and rusts and so on and so on. And here is a little trivia for Kai Björn Tranved, because back in the day they actually had an idea to translate the whole Monkey Island to Swedish, and they kind of stopped halfway. So somewhere in some archive somewhere they have like the script for the Swedish version of Monkey Island, with Guybrush Threepwood is translated to Kai Björn Tranved, and that's kind of ridiculous, so I go with that. And the other one is Evil John, which actually is from Many a True Nerd's run of Fallout Kill Everything. Check that out. And now we are going to make it a little bit dirtier, so we're gonna take this black paint and just, well, weather it and darken it down. And you're gonna do this the whole thing, but I'm gonna show the whole process here on the helmet. And you see, just take black paint and just dirt it down, because first it's got dirty and I had to glue that thing back because it fell off. And now the camera is going into non-focus, but it's back now. So just take a lot of paint and just see everything that cracks that it actually might soak up some dirt and so on, and also on the hoses there, because the hoses are quite white. And I still couldn't find the hoses that actually looks like it, so we will go with this until I find something. I might gonna revisit this costume at some point to actually like do the things that I wasn't really like satisfied or didn't have the parts to do, like parts of the knee and so on. So there might be a revisiting of this in the future. However, now you see he's gonna take the rust here. It's just brown paint gonna rub in. You can also use like cinnamon, like orange, and then pour cinnamon on it, and it will look really much realistically like rust. But since I don't have heated storage, this will very easily catch mold. And now we're gonna take the metal paint here and actually do some scratches. Everything it can be like scratched by sandstorm or just, you know, being used for a long time and so on. So you see, just grows from looking more metal than just this other static gray kind of plasticky looking-ish. So you can spend like a lot of time. Some people that have built this kind of costume for like a year and it looks really great. I did this in like combine of 5 days. So you see, if it isn't really perfect, you can understand why. But I don't really have that time because it's going to be finished for a premiere and I have other things to do before that. So anyway, I hope this will be a very satisfying tutorial for you, by the way, if you're still watching this series. Because, well, it was a little fun build, and I hope it will inspire you to make a better one. You see, there's my old one and the new one. They look kind of similar. And now we're gonna do like all the little imperfections that you can find on the costume. Let's make them into like battle damage and scratch and so on. And also a thing I didn't do, which I might gonna do, but I did like New Mutants Allowed short letters combination, and did some like marks on how many mutants they have killed, because I think that's a little fun detail. And I'm just going to put the hoses there, you see, with the straps, and that looks like that. Or zip ties, sorry. And now we're going to take some normal packing plastic and cover that up with some tuning films from, you know, that cars use for their window, which I actually use was very cheap. So there it is, and now we are going to glue that on the very sexy green inside of this helmet. And you see that? Now it looks fabulous with its eyes there. And you see, it fits so well on my head. And now we're gonna take a little drill and attach the covers for that. You see, they didn't really cover the whole thing because I didn't count in that the hoses will actually expand it. And now we are kind of finished here. So now I'm just gonna take some pictures that you can go out and take with this, because it will look fantastic. You see, when you take it with flash, you will see all the imperfections, and like you see when it's completely brown, which you can mix in some black paint so it will look more realistic. And so on. But overall, I think this has been a really fun build that has been really good. And if you subscribe to this, I will come up with more like whole sets of armor or costume tutorials in the future. And if you have a suggestion for what I should build, please leave that. It probably will be something that you can just modify into something else, because I don't really like the oddly specific costuming tutorials. But anyway, it's gonna build this, so thank you and goodbye.